You're listening to episode 1015 of the Father Bills Podcast. Welcome back. This week's episode is entitled Salt and Light to the Nations, given on the 5th Sunday in Ordinary Time, 2026. Starting last week, the church set us on a journey through the most famous sermon Jesus ever preached. And that was the Sermon on the Mount. His words comfort the afflicted and afflict the comforted. In today's gospel, Jesus is not asking us who we would like to be. He is telling us who we are and what we are to do as his disciples. For we are salt of the earth and light of the world. To understand this, we must enter into the world of his listeners. Salt in Jesus' time was far more than simple seasoning like we use. Yes, it does add flavor, but it was also essential for preserving food and keeping it from spoiling. They didn't have refrigerators back then, right? Without salt, meat would decay and become dangerous to eat. Salt was used in temple worship as well as a sign of purity. It was so valuable that it is the root of the word from which we get the word salary. Salt, salary. And salt by its very nature is salty. If it loses its taste, it is actually no longer salt. Chemically, it has stopped being what it was created to be. In biblical language, to be salty meant to have substance, to have character, real personality. As Deacon Brett shared in his homily a couple weeks ago, to lose one's personality is dehumanizing. Sadly, today, being salty doesn't mean those things. It means today bitter or resentful or, as I like to say, being snarky. That's not what Jesus is meaning. He wants us to be people of substance, of true personality. Be people whose lives preserve and lift up what is good and give flavor to the world. Then Jesus goes on, he says, you are the light of the world. Light for us feels ordinary, right? You just flip a switch, voila, light. But in Jesus' time, light was very precious. A single oil lamp meant safety, guidance, and ability to be active after sunset. For the Jewish people, light was deeply connected to the temple. At the Feast of Tabernacles, aka the Feast of Lights, also known as Hanukkah, great lamps, or menorah, were lit in the temple, which illumined the light out into Jerusalem. They recalled how their ancestors rededicated the temple and relit the candles in the temple in their hope that God's presence would one day return and dwell among them again. So when Jesus says, you are the light of the world, he is not flattering us. He's not giving us kudos in this sense. He's actually giving us a mission. Just as salt prevents corruption and light dispels darkness in your life, lived in communion, we are meant to preserve what is good and push back that which is false and destructive. But how do we live this in reality in our life? Well, the first reading from Isaiah gives us some good starting places. We heard, share your bread with the hungry, shelter the oppressed and the homeless, clothe the naked when you see them, and do not turn your back on your own. Remove from your midst oppression, false accusation, and malicious speech. And we could create more on that list on our own. This is how we become salt and light. Now, how do we engage that work? Well, we can do that here through our parish, in our ministries. There's great opportunities in our community to live this out. Just pick up a bulletin and start looking through it. But you may have other ideas that push you beyond. I encourage you, go for it. But we must be mindful of one important part of this equation. The why we would do this. The why matters more than the things that we do themselves. Some of us may hesitate to let anyone know and see our good works. Others may be quite comfortable to make sure everybody sees them. Last week, Father Dominic reminded us of Brother Lawrence of the Resurrection and his teaching in the book, The Practice of the Presence of God. From that, we might have some good thoughts here. That would be, before we act, we should pray. We must invite God's presence into our hearts. Otherwise, our good works can become hurried, pride-filled, or even self-serving. We must act with humility. We must act in communion with God. And Jesus tells us why. We heard him say this, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your heavenly Father. That they may see your good deeds and glorify your heavenly Father. And that's the point. The ultimate goal is the glory of God, not our ego, not our applause, not simply the satisfaction of feeling good that we did something. Every good work must lead beyond us and point back to the giver. That is the Jesuit motto. You might know this if you're from Jesuit high school. All Jesuits say, for the greater glory of God. That is the difference. That is what Jesus is trying to help us understand. So how about like today? Today's a Super Bowl. On the surface, the goal may be a trophy, it might be applause, it might be a championship ring. And those things are not bad in themselves, but they are temporary, and applaud fades. Cameras will eventually turn away. If someone plays for recognition, then that recognition is their whole reward, and it lasts as long as the spotlight is on them. But when a person uses their gifts with humility, gratitude, and faith, when their excellence becomes an offering, then their performance points to themselves, but rather it becomes a witness. It becomes light. The same can be for us. So here's your homework. Think about a need that truly moves your heart. Spend some time in prayer about it. Open yourself to the presence of God. And then go out this week and be salt and light. Thank you again for listening to this episode of the Father Bill's podcast. If you have any comments or questions or want to just learn more about what's going on in my ministry, you can go to my website, fatherbill.org, FRBILL.org. And as I've been doing as I end my podcast series here, I want to let you know that I have some music that I've prepared through ChatGPT for the help with the lyrics and some of my corrections, and Suno.com for the actual music itself. So enjoy the song entitled, Light of Christ, Shine Through Our Lives. God bless you, and have a great week. Bye-bye.
Share your bread with those in need, clothe the poor and set them free. When we live in love and truth, darkness fades and light breaks through. Mercy rising like the dawn, hope is born when night is gone. When we walk the way you show, God's own glory starts to glow. We will be your light in the darkness, salt of the earth in a broken land, living your love in humble service, shining the mercy of your hand, all for the glory of the Father, all for the kingdom of the Son, moved by the power of the Spirit, to all the world your light has won. Not by wisdom, not by pride, not by strength we testify, but by Spirit, power, and grace. Christ is seen in humble faith. No fine words, no boastful claim, only Jesus' lifted name. Faith made strong in weakness known, God alone is power shown. We will be your light in the darkness, salt of the earth in a broken land, living your love in humble service, shining the mercy of your hand, all for the glory of the Father, all for the kingdom of the Son, moved by the power of the Spirit, to all the world your light has won. You have called us salt and light, witness in the world's deep night, city set upon a hill, shining bright by heaven's will. Let our lives your mercy prove, let our works reveal your love, so the world may come to see God the Father's glory be. We will be your light in the darkness, salt of the earth in a broken land, living your love in humble service, shining the mercy of your hand, all for the glory of the Father, all for the kingdom of the Son, moved by the power of the Spirit, to all the world your light has won. We will be your light in the darkness, salt of the earth in a broken land, living your love in humble service, shining